Picture this. Two people earn the same income. Both work hard, both are smart. One of them buys a house as soon as possible because it feels like the adult thing to do. The other delays that decision, rents longer than their friends, and quietly invests the difference for decades. 30 years later, the surprising part is not who looks more successful. It is who has more freedom. And this is where Warren Buffett's name always shows up. Not because he tells everyone to avoid houses forever, but because his behavior over a long time exposes a simple idea most people miss. Your biggest financial enemy is not low income, it is delay. Here's the angle of this video. We're not saying never buy a house. We're saying don't buy a house for the wrong reason, especially if the decision steals the one thing investing needs most: time. Before we go further, quick note in the same spirit as Warren Buffett's own writing. This is for education, not personal financial advice. I'm sharing principles and real examples so you can think clearer, not so you blindly copy someone else's choices. Your situation, your family needs, and your local market all matter. Now, why Warren Buffett? Because he has repeated one lesson for decades in plain language. Patience beats panic, consistency beats intensity, and time rewards the people who stop trying to win fast. In fact, Buffett is widely quoted saying, "The stock market is a device for transferring money from the impatient to the patient." That sentence is not just about stocks. It is about life decisions that pressure you to rush, including big purchases you are supposed to make by a certain age. Let me give you a simple mental image. Think of your money like a bar of soap. Every time you grip it too hard, it slips away faster. Rushing into a major financial commitment can feel secure, but it can also squeeze out flexibility. And flexibility is where many people find opportunity. One more hook because it matters. Buffett is famous for living in a relatively modest home in Omaha that he bought back in 1958 for $31,500. That detail is often used as a "see, houses are great" story. But the more interesting lesson is what he focused on for decades after that. He focused on compounding, and he's consistent about long-term thinking. In Berkshire Hathaway's shareholder letters, he has explained that when he owns a truly outstanding business, he wants to hold it for a very long time, famously writing, "Our favorite holding period is forever." So the real question is not, should you buy a house? The real question is what decision helps you keep buying time? Because time is the one asset nobody can refinance. You can't rewind your 20s. You can't replay your 30s. But you can build a system that starts paying you back, quietly, month after month, year after year. And that brings us to the real problem. Why do so many people start investing late, even when they have the ability to start earlier?
Why most people start investing too late. People who start investing late are usually not careless. They are not lazy, and they are not unintelligent. The real problem is more subtle. Most people delay investing because they misunderstand what actually matters. They think investing is about being smart. In reality, it is about time and behavior. Warren Buffett has repeated this idea for decades, not with hype, not with complicated formulas, but with calm, almost boring consistency. I'm quoting Warren Buffett directly here. "The stock market is a device for transferring money from the impatient to the patient." This line appears in multiple speeches and writings, including his shareholder discussions at Berkshire Hathaway. Notice what he does not say. He does not say money moves from the poor to the rich. He does not say money moves from the unlucky to the lucky. He says it moves from the impatient to the patient. That single word explains why so many people start too late. Reason 1. People chase milestones before systems. Most people follow a script they never consciously chose. Graduate, work, earn more, buy a car, buy a house, then, when things are stable, start investing. The problem is this: stability rarely arrives on schedule. Expenses grow with income, responsibilities multiply, and the money that could have been planting seeds gets locked into obligations. Here is a line worth remembering: if you wait for life to feel comfortable, you will wait too long. Buying a house often feels like progress, and it can be when done intentionally. But when it delays investing for 10 or 15 years, the cost is invisible, not immediate. Like skipping exercise, you feel fine today, but the bill shows up later. Reason 2. The human brain is wired against long-term rewards. This is not a motivation problem, it is biology. Behavioral finance research shows that humans heavily discount future rewards. We prefer a small reward now over a larger reward later. Investing suffers because the feedback is slow. There is no applause, no instant validation. Think of investing like planting a tree in your backyard. You water it every month. For years, it looks like nothing is happening. Buying something today feels like progress. Investing feels like waiting. Here's the second punchline: fast rewards are loud, long-term rewards are quiet. Warren Buffett understood this early. That is why he optimized his life around compounding, not excitement. Reason 3. Fear of mistakes leads to permanent delay. Many people say, "I'm still learning. I'll start when I understand more. I'll wait until the market feels safer." This sounds responsible, but often it is fear wearing a suit. They are not avoiding bad decisions, they are avoiding decisions entirely, and time keeps moving. Buffett once explained that investing success does not require genius, it requires temperament, the ability to act reasonably when others hesitate or panic. Here is a simple truth: you do not need to be perfect to start, but you do need to start to improve. Waiting for certainty is expensive because certainty usually arrives after opportunity has passed. Reason 4. People think investing requires immediate skill. Social media creates a dangerous illusion that investing means predicting, timing, outsmarting everyone else. Buffett's real-life behavior shows the opposite. In Berkshire Hathaway's shareholder letters, Buffett consistently emphasizes long-term ownership of high-quality assets and the power of compounding over decades, not months. I'm quoting his philosophy again. Our favorite holding period is forever. That mindset removes pressure. It replaces speed with discipline. Here's another line to remember: you do not need to be fast, you need to be early and consistent. And that leads to the heart of today's topic. Because Warren Buffett didn't win by rushing, he won by staying invested, staying patient, and letting time do the heavy lifting. Next, we need to understand who Warren Buffett really is and why his life choices give this message credibility.
To understand why Warren Buffett's approach is worth listening to, you have to see the timeline, not the headlines, not the net worth, the timeline. Buffett didn't win with one lucky move. He built trust the slow way, year by year, decision by decision, and that's exactly why his habits translate so well into real life. He is famous today as the chairman of Berkshire Hathaway, but long before that reputation existed, he was already writing detailed letters to his early investors. They were called the Buffett Partnership Letters. They read like a calm, disciplined operator explaining what happened, what didn't, and why he stayed rational. That matters because credibility is not just about success. It is about clarity under pressure. In those early letters, Buffett compared his results to the general market. He talked about down years. He explained strategy without pretending he could predict the future. That tone is important because it tells you he was not selling magic. He was building a repeatable process. Now, let's connect this back to the house topic. Many people think wealth comes from one big adult decision. Buy a house, lock it in, done. But Buffett's personal behavior shows a different priority. He bought a home in Omaha in 1958 for $31,500, and he stayed there for decades, not because he worshipped real estate, but because he didn't need his house to prove anything. That's a key point for young adults and parents, too. A home can be a beautiful life choice, but it is not automatically the best wealth engine. Sometimes it is a stability choice. Sometimes it is an emotional choice. And sometimes it becomes a financial trap. Buffett himself has been quoted saying he likely would have made more money renting, and that his home was valuable mainly for the life it allowed him to live, not because it beat investing. That is a very Buffett way to think. Separate life value from investment value. Here's a simple analogy. A home is like a comfortable pair of shoes. If it fits your life and your family, it can be perfect. But you don't buy shoes expecting them to multiply. You buy them to walk better. Investing is different. Investing is like planting an orchard. It is not mainly about comfort today. It is about future harvest. And Buffett's credibility comes from choosing the orchard mindset over and over. One of the most important lines people quote from him comes from Berkshire Hathaway's 1988 shareholder letter. I'm quoting directly from Berkshire's official website. When we own portions of outstanding businesses with outstanding managements, our favorite holding period is forever. That sentence is not a motivational poster. It is a philosophy. It means he thinks like an owner, not a gambler. He is not obsessed with being right this quarter. He is obsessed with being sensible for decades. And there's one more layer of credibility that often gets missed. Buffett's mindset is strongly shaped by Benjamin Graham, the father of value investing. His book, The Intelligent Investor, taught the idea of treating the market like a moody business partner, not a boss you must obey. Buffett has praised that framework for decades. So when Buffett tells you that temperament matters, he's not guessing. He's applying a philosophy with a long paper trail. Here's a punchline you can keep. Big money is rarely made by big moves. It's made by small moves repeated for a long time. Now that you know why his voice matters, we can move into the first core concept, and we'll make it practical with a simple American analogy you can picture instantly.
Buffett's understand what you own rule. Warren Buffett's first big advantage is not a secret stock tip. It's a filter. He avoids what he cannot clearly explain, and he commits hard to what he can explain. In Berkshire Hathaway's 1996 shareholder letter, Buffett lays it out in plain language. I'm quoting him directly. Your goal as an investor is to buy, at a rational price, a piece of an easily understandable business whose earnings are likely to be higher 5, 10, and 20 years from now. Then he adds a line that hits like a hammer. If you aren't willing to own a stock for 10 years, don't even think about owning it for 10 minutes. That is not about predicting the market. That is about controlling your behavior. This is the theory behind what many people call Buffett's circle of competence. Not being good at everything, just knowing what you truly understand and staying inside those boundaries. Here's why this matters for the "don't buy a house too early" theme. Because people often rush into big commitments to feel safe. But Buffett's version of safety is different. His safety comes from understanding, from patience, from staying consistent long enough for time to work. U.S. analogy. Driving on the American interstate at night. Imagine you're driving on an American interstate at night. The road is wide, cars are moving fast, and you see an exit sign up ahead. Now you have two options. Option 1, you take the exit because you feel pressured. Everyone else is exiting. It must be the right move. Option 2, you only take exits you recognize because you planned your route. You know where that exit goes. You know what happens if you miss it. Buffett is option 2. He doesn't take the trendy exit. He takes the exit that makes sense inside his map. And if he doesn't have a map, he slows down or he doesn't turn. Here's a punchline you can keep. If you don't understand the road, don't take the exit. What this looks like in real life. For most people, the biggest investing mistake isn't losing money once. It's buying something they don't understand, then selling in fear, then avoiding investing for years. Buffett's rule prevents that loop, because when you truly understand what you own, you're less likely to panic. You stop reacting to noise. You start acting like an owner, and that changes everything. Another easy analogy. Think about an NFL team. A team doesn't win by running random plays. They win by running a clear playbook, again and again until it becomes automatic. Investing works the same way. Your playbook is your rules, your budget, your time horizon, your risk comfort. If you keep switching strategies every month, you're not investing, you're improvising. Here's the next punchline. Consistency beats confidence. The quiet link back to houses. A house can be a great life decision, but when buying a house forces you to stop investing for years, the hidden cost is lost time. Buffett's lesson is simple. Don't let pressure choose your timeline. Choose a timeline you can defend. In plain words, with calm logic, even when people disagree. Because the market will always offer noise, and life will always offer should. But if you build around what you understand, you build around something stronger than opinion. You build around discipline.
The power of compounding over time. If Warren Buffett had to pick one force that did most of the work for him, it wouldn't be intelligence, it wouldn't be timing, it would be compounding. Buffett has publicly said that his wealth is the result of three things: living in America, some lucky genetics, and compound interest working over a very long time. He has repeated this idea in interviews and shareholder meetings over the years. Let's slow this down, because compounding sounds boring until you see the math. Simple example number 1. Imagine two people. Person A starts investing at age 25. They invest $300 per month. They do this consistently for 10 years, then stop completely at 35. They never add another dollar. Person B waits. They start at 35. They invest the same $300 per month, but they keep going until age 65. Now here's the surprising part. Person A invested less total money, but because their money had more time, it often ends up larger by retirement, assuming reasonable long-term market returns. This is not about exact percentages, it's about structure. Punchline to remember: time does more heavy lifting than effort. Simple example number 2. Let's make it even simpler. You invest $1,000. It grows by 7% per year on average. After 1 year, you have $1,070. No surprise. But in year 2, you don't earn interest only on your $1,000. You earn it on $1,070. That extra $70 now works for you. And next year, the growth works on top of that. It's like rolling a snowball downhill. At first, it barely moves, but the longer it rolls, the more snow it picks up. Here's another punchline. Compounding is slow at first, then unstoppable. A very American analogy, the 401k escalator. Think about a workplace 401k. You step onto an escalator. At first, you feel like you're not going anywhere. People walking upstairs look faster than you, but the escalator never gets tired. It doesn't stop, and after enough time, it passes a lot of people who started strong but quit. That's compounding. Buffett understood this early. That's why he didn't rush to look rich. He optimized for staying invested.
The hidden cost of buying too early. Here's where the house decision matters again. Buying a house means all your cash goes to a down payment, repairs, and higher monthly costs. You may lose years of compounding, not because houses are bad, but because opportunity cost is real. That opportunity cost is invisible. You don't get a monthly statement showing lost compounding. But Buffett thinks in those invisible terms. What could this money become if left alone? Here's another line to remember. What you give up is often more important than what you buy. Mindset shift. Most people ask, how much can I make? Buffett asks, how long can I stay invested? That mindset reduces stress. It replaces urgency with patience, and patience over time becomes an advantage. Next, we need to talk about the mistakes beginners make when they finally decide to invest, because even good intentions can go wrong without simple rules.
Most beginners don't fail because they chose the wrong investment once. They fail because they build habits that make staying invested impossible. Warren Buffett's core advantage is not prediction, it's temperament. And he gives a rule that instantly exposes many beginner mistakes. I'm quoting from Berkshire Hathaway's 1996 shareholder letter. If you aren't willing to own a stock for 10 years, don't even think about owning it for 10 minutes. Even if you are not buying individual stocks, the principle still applies. If you can't commit to a long-term plan, short-term noise will control you. Now let's break down the biggest beginner mistakes and the cleanest ways to avoid them. Mistake 1. Starting with what should I buy instead of what can I stick with? Beginners often start with excitement. They want the best option, the fastest path, the clever move. But Buffett starts with something quieter. He starts with process. Here's the mindset shift. The best plan is the one you can follow when you feel bored, busy, or scared. How to avoid it? Build a plan that is boring on purpose. Simple contributions, simple rules, long time horizon. US analogy. It's like joining a gym and trying the hardest program on day 1. You don't need the perfect workout. You need the workout you'll still do in February. Punchline? A simple plan done for years beats a brilliant plan done for weeks. Mistake 2. Confusing long-term with never think again. People hear Buffett's famous line, "Our favorite holding period is forever," and they misuse it. Even Infotainment points out that many investors misunderstand this quote. Buffett is not saying buy anything and never review it. He's saying, if you buy something high quality for the right reasons, you should not panic sell because of short-term headlines. How to avoid it? Create a simple review schedule. Not daily, not weekly, something calm like quarterly or twice a year. US analogy. Think of it like a road trip across America. You don't stare at the GPS every 5 seconds, but you do check it at key points to stay en route. Punchline? Long-term doesn't mean asleep. It means steady. Mistake 4. Watching prices too often. This one destroys more portfolios than bad investments ever will. When you watch prices every day, you train your brain to feel danger, even when nothing is actually wrong. Buffett's 10 years mindset is a shield against this, because if your horizon is long, daily swings lose power. How to avoid it? Set a rule for yourself. Check your portfolio on a schedule, not on emotions. A practical rule many people use. If you feel the urge to check because you're anxious, that's exactly when you should not check. Punchline? If you measure your future every hour, you'll panic every hour. Mistake 5. Going too aggressive too early. Many beginners start with an amount that looks impressive. Then life hits, a surprise bill, a family need, a job change. Then they stop completely. How to avoid it? Start with an amount that is almost too easy because the goal is not to impress yourself. The goal is to build momentum. US analogy? It's like learning to run. If you sprint on day 1, you'll hate running by day 3. If you jog consistently, your body adapts. Punchline? Small and consistent beats big and emotional. Mistake 5. Mixing investing with entertainment. There's nothing wrong with learning, but many people confuse learning with chasing. If every week you change strategies, you're not investing, you're sampling.
How to avoid it? Separate your money into two categories in your mind. The future system money, boring, consistent, long-term. The learning money, small, controlled, only if you truly want to study. And remember the key constraint you gave me. No specific stock recommendations here. We stay with principles. Punchline: your retirement is not a game. Don't treat it like one. A quick mindset and action reset. Mindset. Buffett's world is built around patience, understanding, and long time horizons. He stays inside what he understands, and he avoids decisions that force him to react emotionally. Action. Your job is not to beat everyone. Your job is to build a plan you can follow for years. Because the market will always tempt you to do something dramatic, but wealth is usually built quietly.
This is the question almost everyone asks quietly, usually late at night, usually after doing the math. What if I'm already behind? What if I didn't start in my 20s? What if I made the wrong choices earlier? First, let's clear something important. Warren Buffett himself did not become Warren Buffett early. More than 90% of his net worth was built after age 50. That fact is often cited when people study his timeline and the effect of compounding over decades. So here's the first mindset reset. Being late is not the same as being done. Buffett's advantage was not a perfect start. It was that he never stopped. The dangerous thought. It's too late, so why try? This thought feels logical, but it's a trap. Imagine missing the first half of a football game. You don't say, well, guess I'll never score now. You play the second half better. Time only works one way, forward. Here's a punchline worth keeping. You can't rewind time, but you can still compound from today. A simple reality check. Let's do a very honest comparison. Person A starts at 25. Person B starts at 40. Person B will not magically catch up by wishing. That part is true. But here's the part people miss. Person B can still build real security, flexibility, and options by staying consistent from 40 onward. The worst outcome is not starting late. The worst outcome is starting late and stopping early. American analogy: boarding a train already moving. Think of investing like a long-distance train. Yes, the best seat was at the first station, but the train is still going somewhere. If you don't get on because you missed the first stop, you guarantee one thing: you stay where you are. Buffett's thinking is very practical. He focuses on what can be controlled now, not on regret. Here's another punchline. Regret is expensive. Action is productive. Buffett mindset for late starters. Buffett has often emphasized that investing success is about temperament, not age. Staying rational, staying patient, staying consistent. If you're starting later, your priorities shift slightly. You focus more on stability over excitement, consistency over aggression, process over prediction, and most importantly, you avoid decisions that force you to quit, because quitting is what kills compounding. A quiet truth most people don't say. Starting late can actually make you more disciplined. You are less interested in hype, more focused on results. You're not trying to prove anything. You're trying to build something that lasts. And that mindset is very close to Buffett's. Here's one more line to remember. The best time to start was years ago. The second best time is still today. Next, we move from mindset to action. Clear, practical steps you can actually do today. No hype, no shortcuts.
From mindset to real action. This is the part where ideas turn into behavior. Not next year, not when things calm down, today. Warren Buffett's philosophy works because it is simple enough to execute, not because it is complicated. So Let's break this into clear, calm steps. Step 1. Separate life decisions from investment decisions. This is foundational. A house is a life decision first. An investment is a system decision. Confusing the two creates pressure. Ask yourself one honest question. Does this decision increase my flexibility or reduce it? Warren Buffett did not treat his home as a wealth engine. He treated it as a place to live well. His wealth engine was something else entirely. Mindset line to remember. Comfort and growth are not the same job. Action today. Write down which expenses in your life are for comfort and which ones are meant to grow your future. Clarity reduces guilt, and guilt often blocks action. Step 2. Automate before you optimize. Buffett is famous for discipline, not micromanagement. Automation creates discipline without willpower. Before asking, "How much can I make?" ask, "How can I make this automatic?" Action today. Choose a fixed amount you can invest consistently. Make it small enough that it doesn't stress you. Schedule it. This removes daily decision-making, and daily decisions are where people fail. Punchline to keep. What runs automatically lasts longer than what relies on motivation. Step 3. Build for boredom, not excitement. If your plan requires constant attention, it will break. Life gets busy. Emotions fluctuate. Buffett's approach is intentionally boring. That's why it works. U.S. analogy. Think of cruise control on a highway. You don't press the gas every second. You set a speed and let the system work. Action today. Choose a long-term time horizon, 10 years or more. Decide in advance how often you will review, not daily, not emotionally. Punchline. If your plan excites you, it may not survive stress. Step 4. Protect your ability to stay invested. This is more important than returns. Ask yourself, what could force me to stop? Unexpected expenses, job changes, family needs. Action today. Make sure you have basic financial breathing room. Don't invest money you might need soon. Buffett avoids situations where he is forced to sell. That's part of his risk management. Mindset shift. The goal is not maximum growth. The goal is uninterrupted growth. Step 5. Commit to one rule you will not break. Buffett's rules are simple but firm. You need at least one. Examples of non-negotiable rules. I do not panic sell based on headlines. I do not stop investing because of boredom. I do not compare my timeline to others. Action today. Write down one rule that protects your future self from your emotional self. Punchline. Discipline is remembering what you decided long after the emotion is gone. Step 6. Measure progress the right way. Most people measure progress by speed. Buffett measures it by durability. Instead of asking, "Did I make money this month?" ask, "Did I follow my system this month?" Action today. Track consistency, not outcomes. Because outcomes fluctuate, systems compound. Final punchline for this section. The market rewards patience, but only if you stay in the game. Now, it's time to close this story, to tie everything together, and to leave you with something that stays in your head long after this ends.
Let's bring this home. The point was never don't buy a house. The point was don't let one big decision steal your time. Warren Buffett didn't build his life around looking rich quickly. He built it around staying rational for decades. He stayed patient when others rushed. He stayed consistent when others restarted. And he protected the one ingredient you cannot replace:
time. If you only remember a few ideas from this video, make them these. First, time is not just a calendar, it's your financial multiplier. Second, a house can be a great life choice, but it is not automatically the best investment choice. Sometimes it brings stability, sometimes it brings pressure, and pressure is expensive because it forces you to quit. Third, Buffett's edge is not magic, it's behavior. I'm quoting Buffett's mindset as it appears across Berkshire Hathaway's shareholder letters and public talks. Our favorite holding period is forever, and also his rule that gets repeated in many forms. If you aren't willing to own something for a long time, you shouldn't own it for a moment. That is the whole game. Not excitement, not speed, discipline. Here are the punchlines you can carry with you. You can't rewind time, but you can compound from today. Fast rewards are loud, long-term rewards are quiet. A simple plan done for years beats a brilliant plan done for weeks. Regret is expensive, action is productive. The market rewards patience, but only if you stay in the game. And if you want the deeper why behind Buffett's thinking, go to the sources that shaped him. Read Berkshire Hathaway's shareholder letters, especially the ones where he explains temperament, patience, and ownership thinking. And read Benjamin Graham's book, The Intelligent Investor, the framework Buffett has credited for teaching him how to think when the market gets emotional. Now here's your call to action. Not dramatic, not complicated. Today, do 3 things. 1. Pick a number you can invest consistently without stressing your life. 2. Automate it so motivation doesn't have to carry you. 3. Write 1 rule you won't break, especially when fear shows up. Then repeat, quietly, for longer than feels comfortable. Because the truth is simple. Most people don't lose to the market. They lose to their own timeline. If this helped you, share it with someone who feels late. And if you want more videos like this, focused on principles and real-world decision-making, subscribe and stay with the series. And just to keep it grounded as we wrap up, this is education, not personal financial advice. No one video can know your income, your family needs, your health, or your local housing market. Use these ideas as a framework, then make choices that let you sleep well and stay consistent.